I was reading a draft paper I found on the foresightInstitute.org recently. This is a think tank organisation focusing on emerging technologies. Anyway, this is an old paper which was to be read at the 5th Foresight Conference on Molecular Nanotechnology back in November of 1997. It's called Nanotechnology and International Security by Mark Avram Gubrund, who is a physicist and technology analyst. I'll link to the paper below. I'm going to read a few paragraphs here to give you some idea of what to expect, though the author does cover a lot of ground. Okay, this is from the section called A World in Arms. If economic upheaval and the creation of a new social order poses a challenge to democratic politics, even in the most advanced nations, the potential for interstate conflict still presents the greatest danger of the nanotechnic revolution. The two arenas cannot be isolated, since domestic chaos can lead to the rise of intemperate leadership, and global chaos can lead to conflicts with other nations. Interstate conflicts, confrontations, and rivalries have a life of their own. Military confrontation can be dynamically stable or unstable simply with regard to possible military moves, rearmament, mobilization, readiness, forward deployment, preemptive seizures of territory, or full-scale attack. Military threats interact with political processes in cycles that can be escalatory or de-escalatory. A country that is completely at the mercy of a stronger power may seek accommodation when threatened, yet the escalation of military threat generally leads to more hostile attitudes when the two sides are more or less equally matched, even when the cost of war would be unacceptably high to both. The history of the Cold War provides ample evidence of both sides in this paradox. It also shows that in spite of intense rivalry, hostility, and covert warfare, nuclear confronters will be deterred from open combat and will eventually seek détente when both are completely at the mercy of a stronger power, namely nuclear weapons. But finally, the many crises of the Cold War, particularly the 1962 crisis, and the long human history of disastrous wars blundered into by combinations of accident, misunderstanding, miscalculation, and hubris, provides ample warning that Holocaust is possible. On the assumption of stochasticity, given enough time and circumstances, global Holocaust is a likely eventuality, as long as nations confront each other with arms and with threats. The author goes into some detail to answer the questions: can nanotechnology break the nuclear stalemate? And can a nanotechnic confrontation be stable? He comes to the conclusion that we need an integrated international security system, cooperative military arrangements, and the giving up of some of the prerogatives of national sovereignty for the good of verifiable arms control. He doesn't outright call for world government, but reading between the lines, or maybe just looking at it in a practical way, a democratic world state is, it's the way to go. My words, not the author's. It's worth saying that, unlike this fellow, I don't know anything of substance about nanotechnology or its potential military applications, but you don't really need to be a scientist to get a basic grasp on a subject and understand the possible dangers and their scope. There's a section here on artificial intelligence also, where the subject which is popular still today, as it was in the 90s, the concept of technological singularity, comes up. Yeah, interesting. Mr. Gudbrand is clearly concerned about the possibility of a new kind of arms race taking hold, and the emergence of technologies and breakthroughs which, if handled badly, could lead to horrendous world wars, or maybe even our demise as a species. He points out an obvious truth, I think. We're divided and we live in a hostile world of enemies and rivalries, so it's technology versus technology, intelligence against intelligence, purpose versus purpose. My little view would simply be that it's a big change of attitude towards each other that we really need. Stop othering each other. Yeah, weird as that sounded. Yeah, unite and commit to peace. The future doesn't have to be a horrible elaboration of the present, but we need a sharp change of direction.